Have you ever used a card in Clash Royale and thought, "Whoa, this is way too strong"? Well, I definitely have. And it got me thinking, what actually makes a card broken in Clash Royale? So I analysed all the broken cards in the game throughout the years. Finally, I was able to discover 8 factors which determine if a card is broken or not. Number 1. Stats don't match the cost. Every card in the game has stats like health, damage and speed. It goes on without saying that if a card costs less elixir, its stats should be weaker, and if a card costs more elixir, its stats should be stronger. A golem costs 8 elixir, but gives you the most hit points and great damage, making it the perfect tank. On the other hand, skeletons cost only 1 elixir. They're extremely weak, but give you 3 units, making them perfect for distracting enemy troops. Cards feel fair if their stats are designed according to their cost. But what happens if this rule is broken? Now, imagine if a card like P.E.K.K.A. cost 3 elixir. Yeah, well, that would just be game-breaking. She already deals massive damage and has super high health. If her cost was reduced to 3 elixir, everyone would be spamming an army of P.E.K.K.A.s, and that'll just feel unfair. Cards like Monk, Royal Recruits, and recently the Goblin Hut had their elixir costs changed because it wasn't justifying their stats. Therefore, if a card is broken, it's most likely because its power doesn't match how much it costs. But sometimes, it's not the stats of the card that make it broken. Sometimes it's more about how much value the card is providing. Which makes the next point in our list really important. Number 2. It does everything. In Clash Royale, most cards are designed to do one main job. A tank takes damage, a support deals damage from the back, a spell clears swarms or low health units. But broken cards don't follow this rule. Now consider a card like Goblinstein. First of all, you're getting a tank in the form of a goblin monster. Then you're getting the Doctor as the support troop. That Doctor not only deals damage but also stuns troops like an Electro Wizard, and yes, you can split them both to defend in both lanes as well. But wait, even that's not all! You can use the Goblinstein's ability and now you're basically getting a spell that wipes off everything on the field. Okay, are we even being real right now? That's 5 different roles for one card. It's like having a giant Electro Wizard and Poison, all in a single card. Therefore, defending against it is a nightmare. It's always guaranteed to give you some value, regardless of what your opponent does, and that's what makes the card concept broken. Not only troops, but spells can break this rule too. Goblin Curse is a prime example of it. It deals damage, has damage amplification for some reason, and then turns enemy troops into goblins, which can counter-attack? Honestly, what was Supercell thinking? Recently, the Boss Bandit was released, and she's one of the most complete cards Clash Royale ever released. First of all, her stats are absolutely unbelievable. For some crazy reason, she has more hit points than a Prince or a Sparky. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. In what world does a skinny redhead girl have more health than a literal war machine on steroids? And don't forget, she's fast. She can dash and she has insane damage too. You can use her on offense, defense, and for cycling cards quickly because of her 3-card cycle. I understand champions are meant to be a bit stronger than normal cards, but what the heck is this? Every card should have strengths, but also clear weaknesses. And when a card fulfills multiple roles single-handedly, it becomes much harder to counter. Number 3. Reliable counters don't exist. Another sign of a broken card is when barely anything counters it well. No card should be unstoppable. There should always be another card or strategy that can beat it. For example, a balloon is scary. If it reaches your tower, it deals huge damage, but it's also slow and only targets buildings. You can stop it with Musketeer, Minions, Tesla, or even Ice Spirit plus Tornado, so even though Balloon is strong, it's not broken because it has clear weaknesses. Now, take a look at the Electro Dragon. Actually, better, let's consider the evolved Electro Dragon. What counters does it truly have? Lightning? Yes. And? What? That's the end of the list. So basically, if you're a beatdown player who doesn't have lightning in your deck, you are absolutely cooked. you're forced to play lightning in your deck, else you're guaranteed to lose against this card. When it comes to facing broken cards, it doesn't matter if you're skilled or not. Now, you might be thinking, if you're actually a good player, shouldn't you beat a less skilled player even if he has a broken card in his deck? Well, no, not really. Let me explain. Number 4, doesn't allow for skill expression. Now, here's something a lot of people miss. Broken cards don't allow for skill expression. Good players should be able to use a card better than bad players. Let's take a look at the miner. Bad players will just keep spamming him at the same spot over and over again, but good players will strategically place him in tricky spots and use him to take out enemy troops too. But if a card is broken, this is no longer the case. Think about the elite barbarians. They are very strong in mid-ladder, where players don't have good counters. Bad players will recklessly spam them, and they will still provide them value. It's because low-level players find it hard to defend against them. But they are not used much in top-level decks. Why? Because elite barbarians don't require much skill to play. You just drop them and hope they smash everything. Good players can easily counter such cards. This is a big reason why some cards are really popular in mid-ladder, but are not much used amongst the pros. If a card wins games just by being dropped, without timing, placement, or thinking, it's not balanced. It's broken! A balanced card should reward smart plays and punish bad ones, but a broken card, it does the exact opposite. Although sometimes, a broken card also needs help, so players will pair it with another strong card, but that leads to the creation of a devastating combo. Number 5 has unstoppable combos. Let's now talk about synergy. People who use elixir golem can skip this part, by the way. So when it comes to synergy, what differentiates balanced cards from broken ones? You see, balanced cards work well in combos, but broken cards actually create unstoppable combos. Every good deck has synergy. For example, Hog Rider plus Ice Spirit is a classic combo. Ice Spirit freezes the tower and the Hog gets an extra hit. It's simple, but not unfair. Neither of those cards are anywhere close to being broken. On the other hand, a combo of Graveyard plus Poison feels unfair. Because regardless of what you do, regardless of what you place, this combo will always get value. Graveyard already has a bad reputation for being broken because of its RNG factor, and if you combine Poison with it too, it takes care of anything that's trying to defend the Graveyard. To add insult to injury, the Poison also chips away at the tower, getting some good damage. Like, what are you even supposed to do against this combo? Now, rewind back to when Rune Giant was released. The card was creating some really broken combos because it was boosting every third attack of your troops. First of all, that concept is just plain stupid. Secondly, Rune Giant paired with cards like Dart Goblin, Little Prince was basically impossible to stop. These cards had a really fast attack speed, which meant they were dealing godly amounts of damage every second. That was just dumb. If that's not broken, I don't know what is. Therefore, broken cards don't support combos. They create ones that feel unfair. Number 6 works in every deck. Balanced cards have specific roles that don't work well in every archetype, but broken cards can be thrown into any deck and still be useful. Now, does that mean adding the log in every deck makes it broken? No, not really. You see, just adding the log in a deck isn't going to necessarily make it much stronger. But now consider the current evolved witch. It's so broken that it's even being used in archetypes where it was never used before. Royal Giant, Martyr, Graveyard. It's everywhere. The crazy thing is that all these decks have seen a boost in their use and win rates because of the witch evolution. Use rate and win rate are really important numbers, because they also play a big role in determining whether a card is broken or not. Number 7, use rate versus win rate. Okay, time to talk about something really interesting which I'm sure you guys didn't have a clue about. Let's talk about the two factors Supercell uses to judge card balance: use rate and win rate. Use rate is how often a card shows up in battles. Win rate is how often it helps players win. If a card has a high use rate and a high win rate, it might be too strong. If a card has a low use rate and a low win rate, it might be too weak. But wait, actually there's a secret third factor too, and it's called clean win rate. So what is it really? Well, It means how often a card wins against decks that don't have that card. For most cards, their clean win rate is similar to their normal win rate, but things get interesting when it comes to broken cards. Broken cards will tend to have a higher clean win rate than their normal win rate, along with a high use rate too. Remember when Little Prince was released? Literally everyone was using it and it was unstoppable. The difference between the clean win rate and normal win rate of the Little Prince at that time was an unbelievable 12%. That means if you weren't using Little Prince in your deck, you were already at a disadvantage. Now, that's broken. You were forced to use a specific card in order to not lose. And when a card is absolutely broken like this, it does something that's really unhealthy for the game. Which brings us to the next point. Number 8. Shifts the entire meta. Some cards are so strong, they change the entire game. They don't just win matches, they force everyone else to adapt or lose. You will always need to have a certain card in your deck to counter that broken shit. Broken cards will push out creativity and force players to build decks around them, instead of against them. That's a huge sign of imbalance. Balancing such cards is always a really big issue, and throughout the years we've seen some really broken cards. If you want to know which are the most and least balanced cards in Clash Royale, click on this video.